Henry, the mild-mannered janitor?
Could be.
With a C64 present.
Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy. Hong Kong Phooey, quicker than the human eye. He's got style, a groovy style, and a vibe that just won't stop. When the going gets rough, he's super tough with a Hong Kong Phooey chop. Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy. Hong Kong Phooey, quicker than the human eye. Tick-a-chong, tick-a-chong, tick-a-chaka, tick-a-chong, tick-a-wow, in the bow, wow, wow. Hong Kong Phooey.
Hi there, welcome to another Lemon 64 play guide and review. This time we'll be taking a look at Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guide, developed by PAL Developments and published by High Tech Software in 1990. In this game, we control the main character himself, Hong Kong Phooey. By pressing that fire button, we can punch, and by pressing that fire button and pushing up, we can fly kick. And lastly, if we jump and press that fire button, then we'll activate the flying kick, and that is the thing that you get for 99% of the enemies in this game. And all you have to do is to negotiate this landscape full of spikes and water traps and acid later on, and kill these minions which lie in between us and a number of switches. We'll have to find those switches in between finding a health top up every now and again, and as you can see, our health top up is represented by the book of Kung Fu on the bottom of that screen. We have another health top up there, but let's just leave that for now. And let's just brave this level, because if we practice and time these jumps perfectly, then hopefully we shouldn't take too much damage. It helps to jump and then perform that flying kick at the last possible moment, and that means you should hit on target, and one contact with these guys should get rid of those, but they are also firing missiles in the form of bullets, so we'll have to avoid all those bullets if we can, and simply duck out of the way of those. But in this game, the object is to flick these switches and to negotiate quite a large maze, which loads in one load onto our Commodore 64, and at this stage progress is very easy. You can hear, apart from the title music, which ends as soon as we start a game, the sound effects really take a back seat, because we only get a very limited effect for the jumping and the collision with enemies, and a little sparkle jingle when we pick up anything. And so that's the Hong Kong Book of Kung Fu collected. That's our energy topped up to the full, and you can see the play area is pretty basic. We have a basic score in the bottom right corner. Along the way, we can collect a number of bonus tokens, and they will give us extra score, but not much else. And you certainly do not complete the game by collecting all those. All you have to do is to trigger all these switches and to get to the end of this long maze. And sometimes you may find that you don't know where you are going on this long maze, and sometimes you have to leave the health behind for when you really need that. Otherwise it's a wasted journey to get full health at this point, and so the art of leaving health behind is definitely a critical element in this game. But ignoring that fact, I'm simply using these moving platforms, and by hopping on some of these, they will traverse that level, and you can see progress is very easy in this game. It's certainly designed for kids, and kids should have no problem getting forward with it. But even though it is basic, the playability on offer is great. The character acts very quickly and on command, so if the player falls off some of these things, sometimes it is their own fault. And the action is very basic and simplistic, which means you can just wade on in from screen to screen, and you don't get stopped on any screen by any major enemies or any major blocks. And this is more fun than the Robocop level, where we wandered around a warehouse taking on bad guys, and the puzzles are more involving as well. Hong Kong Phooey was apparently designed by PAL Developments on the Atari ST machines, and the Atari ST coder was apparently Twilight. It was converted to the Commodore 64 by Enigma Variations by two guys named Steve and Sean. No other information is available on those, and the music they heard at the beginning was created by Sonic Graffiti. That was their only game, which I found on the Lemon 64 database, but it doesn't mean that they didn't go on to create other high-tech PAL Developments games, and high-tech was certainly in the ballpark of these cartoon adventures, having already secured the licenses for Rough and Ready and Atom Ant, to name but a few. And I certainly had a collection of those high-tech games, unlike Yogi's Great Escape, which really did have a terrible jump on the first level, and the Yogi's Big Cleanup, which involved a massive maze and not much fun or variety. This, although it does contain quite a large maze, it can provide some action, and even though, as I say, everything is quite basic, and you might find dead ends which require switches, it doesn't really patronise that player and give them puzzles which are unsolvable. So let's make our way towards the top of that screen and climb on all these moving platforms towards the very one that we need to climb onto by a pixel perfect jump, and then we can throw that switch. And that's all there is to this game. It's very easy and simple to understand, but it is not frustrating either, which is a bugbear of many Commodore 64 games and many of these platformers in general. Perhaps the only annoying feature are the pixel perfect jumps, and if you can perform those pixel perfect leaps, then that's fine, and otherwise you'll have to keep performing those until you get the formula right. And that's the only thing which spoils this game, apart from, as I say, the very lack of sound effects or music, which could have made this polished even more. But as a very quick romp around action game, it's not so bad that you can't progress and have some fun out of it. Unfortunately, I will not complete this game on this playthrough. If you take your time and avoid all these traps, then you should be able to preserve that energy, or if you save that energy at the point where I recommended before, then you can now go back and collect it. But if you don't, you can see we are on minimum energy. We only have one life in this game, and once that energy is gone, then that's our life over. I found two scores for this game. ASM magazine gave it 5.5 out of 10, 55%, and that's the same score as the Lemon 64 database. You can see a castle-like level to the left, and that is the end section of this game, and we aren't too far away from it. Unfortunately, a weight drops on our head and we die. But that's one way to get through this game. It's not hard, and it only takes maybe 10 minutes to complete it end to end, so sometimes it's a case of quickly booting it up and completing it and patting yourself on the back for a job well done. But in this case, having only played this for the first time in many years, I didn't quite make it. So I hope you can check this game out, and thank you once again for reviewing another Lemon 64 play guide and review. Thank you.
Bow wow wow.